My name is Paranjoy Guha Thakurta. I'm 70 years old. I've been a journalist for the last 48 years. I'm also an author, a publisher, a documentary filmmaker, maker of music videos, and an occasional teacher. I've written books. My main area is the political economy of India and the world and the working of the media. So it's my pleasure to be here in Goa, and it was an honor and a privilege to address so many thousands of people, and tell them, don't make Goa like the place I come from, which is the national capital region of Delhi. People are joking. It's the most polluted part of India and one of the most polluted parts of the world. You should not allow that to happen for the future of your children and your grandchildren.
What made you come out today at this event?
I was in Goa because I was asked to speak on the occasion of the 10th anniversary of the martyrdom of Father Bismarck. His supporters, Sudeep Dalvi, Adventine Miranda, they asked me to come from Delhi, and I delivered a talk at the Menzies Braganza Hall, which looked at crony capitalism and what activists should do. How do you build resistance to crony capitalism? That's what has brought me to Goa. I was also lucky and happy that my films and my music videos were showcased at the Flying Goat in Anjuna. So that's what brings me here to Goa.
You also talk a lot about politics, and that's one of your strengths. What do you feel about the latest SIR that is being conducted across states? Do you feel that it is being conducted in a reasonable manner, or there are lacunae which need to be addressed?
Nobody can say that the electoral rolls of this country do not need to be revised or improved or made pure. To you remove the names of people who are not eligible to vote, remove the names of dead people. But the way it has been done, the way it was done in Bihar in particular, means that the Election Commission of India is not doing it in a manner that ensures the integrity of the election process. A special intensive revision which should have taken months, 6 to 8 months or even longer, was sought to be done in a few months. Suddenly, you decided you would do it. And then, because of the Supreme Court, you were forced to make public the names of 65 lakh names. There are 65 lakh names that were deleted. And then there was a hue and cry and shouting and screaming. And then even now, if you compare the Bihar, the voter roll that was there in January of 2025 and that the final, there's still about 47 lakh the names which are not there. So there are inadequacies in our voting system, in our electoral system, which have not been addressed by the Election Commission of India. The Election Commission of India is a constitutional authority. The people of this country have faith in it. But I think in the recent past, the way in which the Election Commission of India has been working gives an indication that it is partisan, it is working in favor of the ruling dispensation and not in a truly independent and autonomous manner. And one of the ways it has been done is through the implementation of the special intensive revision. And in a way, it seems to many people that you're trying to bring in through the back door the NRC, the National Register of Citizens, and the CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Act. Now, I think the government is not transparent. The government's intentions are not clear. And the Election Commission of India needs to act in a transparent manner.
Would you say that decisions in India today are taken or are guided more by political expediency rather than actual scientific reasoning?
That is not new. Whoever's in power will act in a manner in which that suits their political interests. The more important question is this helping the people of this country? You can argue that, okay, the Bharatiya Janata Party on its own, not the NDA, got roughly 32% of the vote in 2014. That went up to around 38% in 2019, and in 2024 came down to 36%. But the number of seats in the Lok Sabha, which the BJP got, came down from 303 to 240. Far from being 400 par, about 400. So in a sense, we have returned to an era where the government in power has to depend on coalition partners for a majority. Because the BJP on its own is 32 short of a majority in the Lok Sabha. We also see the Indian National Congress, which only had 55 seats in 2019, now has 99 seats. So in a sense, after 2024, there has been a change, and I can say without any fear of contradiction, Modi 0.3 is different from Modi 0.2 and Modi 0.1. So politics is part of our life and everything revolves around it. And the question is, politicians can be held accountable and answerable for their action if ordinary people put pressure on them.
Last question. As a journalist, from your experience, how can independent journalists and smaller media outlets like HypeJob collaborate to challenge the narratives which are driven by powerful political and corporate entities?
It's a very difficult task, but you mustn't give up. The darkest hour is just before the dawn. We are dependent on monopolies like YouTube, like Instagram, like Twitter, now known as X. And if we are dependent on them, they control the narrative to a great extent. But the real challenge is to be independent, hold truth to power, hold accountable those who are in positions of power. Otherwise, you don't really have democracy. Today, like so many other institutions, and not just the Election Commission of India, we look at the defense services, we look at the bureaucracy, we look at the military, we look at so many other institutions, the media too. Such a large section of the media has become subservient. To use Ravish Kumar's favorite phrase, they become the Godi media. They're not watchdogs, they're lapdogs. And they're lapdogs to those who are in power and authority. And therefore, the media fails to play the role that is meant for the media, the fourth estate in a democracy, that is ask questions. And Mr. Narendra Modi happens to be the first and the only Prime Minister of India who till date, over the last 11.5 years and longer, has not held a single spontaneous press conference where anybody could ask anything. He's picked and chosen the people he wants to give interviews to. He's given interviews to actors who've asked him questions about how he likes to eat a mango. But the point is, for the first time, we're having the Prime Minister of India who's never held a spontaneous press conference. This sends a message down the line. And I think all independent journalists, including you, have to challenge the present situation.
Thank you so
so
much for
much.
speaking with us.